integration in this operation. I think there ought to be an investigation of the oil and gas companies by the Justice Department. I think if the laws that presently exist don't deal with this problem and price manipulation, there should be some change in the antitrust laws. I think we need states to enforce clean air laws against these refineries. And then I guess last but not least, in the short term, Chris is exactly right about the things we need to be doing in the long term. But in the short term, can America finally stop spending $3 billion a year of taxpayers' money subsidizing oil and gas companies that already make billions of dollars? That's what we ought to be doing.
Governor Richardson, you're a former Secretary of Energy. Are the oil companies, the big oil companies, engaged in price gouging of the American consumer?
Well, I was Energy Secretary. In my state, we call it the clean energy state. We have incentives for solar, wind, biomass, biofuels. We require renewable technologies, 20% of our electricity. Here's my answer. What would help in the short term, give us, the states, the authority to engage in serious price gouging investigation. That doesn't happen. But this is not the answer. The answer,
do you believe they are?
No, they're not. The answer is this. We need an Apollo program, Apollo, led by a president, asking every American to sacrifice, to conserve, that would reduce our dependence on foreign oil, which is 65% imported, to 10%. I have the most aggressive plan according to the League of Conservation Voters. Right. It would go to 80% reduction in greenhouse gas emissions by the year 2040. But it takes an effort by every American.
I'm going to let Senator Biden weigh in as well. What would you do specifically, Senator Biden, give it to us briefly, to reduce, if you want to reduce, the price of gasoline in the United States?
Take away the subsidy, which I've introduced legislation to do. It's about $6 billion, 2.7 directly to the oil companies, number one. Number two, investigate, as a President of the United States, use the Justice Department to go in and investigate this whole issue of price gouging. Number three, though, we have to do what we all said here, but first and foremost, significantly raise the mileage automobiles get and mandate it.
All right, I want everybody to stand by because we're only getting started. We're going to continue all of this, but we're ready to shift into part two of tonight's debate, where voters from New Hampshire here will start asking specific questions. We have some work to do on the stage while we move in some of the chairs, move out the podiums. While we watch that unfold, and you'll see it, viewers of WMUR are going to go back to their studios. The rest of you are going to go and see our colleagues, Anderson Cooper and the best political team on television. They're going to give us a sense of this debate so far. Our debate will resume here in about 3 minutes. We'll be right back.
Wolf, thanks very much. When the debate continues, some of the questions will come from people with loved ones in Iraq in this audience. Also from undecided voters and political independents who can vote in the primary and will play a very important role in the months ahead. This is when the unexpected sometimes happens, moments like the first President Bush caught checking his watch, or seeing a little-known governor from Arkansas first demonstrate his gift for connecting with voters one-on-one. So get ready for a little more retail politics in front of a national audience. First, let's get a quick take on what has happened so far, starting with Chief National Correspondent John King. John, any surprises?
Well, Anderson, yes, some surprises. Crackling Iraq debate between the candidates at the very top of the show. Senator John Edwards trying to say that Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama did not show leadership by waiting until the last minute to go to the floor of the United States Senate to cast their votes against funding the war because it did not have a timeline for troops. Barack Obama turning back to Senator Edwards saying, look, John, you're 4.5 years late on this, pointing out that Senator Edwards, of course, supported the war back when he was in the Senate. Joe Biden trying to give a reality check, saying you can't cut off money for the troops. They're going to be on the ground in Iraq, suggesting all the others were playing politics by saying the president shouldn't get the money as long as the troops were there. Anderson, you can be quite clear there is a continuing debate among these candidates. Some would say it's nuances. They all say they want to end the war, but that is the driving debate on the anti-war left wing of the Democratic Party. All of the candidates are trying to figure out how to answer that debate. We're seeing more of that tonight. We will see it in the days and weeks ahead. Now for more of our coverage, let's turn it over to Larry King.
Thank you, John. We're positioned up here looking down on this lively group, and I agree completely with what John King just said. This has been a very lively 65 minutes or so. Senator Edwards leading the force in carrying on a very, very strong presentation And a very excellent presentation, I think, by all the candidates. An hour and 5 minutes that moved very, very quickly. Candy Crowley, you agree?
I do, Larry, and I think what's interesting here, you mentioned John Edwards. If you look at their positions in the polling right now, and it's been this way for some time, you have Hillary Clinton at the top, then Barack Obama, then John Edwards. What you're seeing here is John Edwards making a move, trying to draw a little blood, if you will, from both of the top candidates, saying you weren't tough enough on this war, you didn't lead, it's not enough just to vote no, you must be a leader in this, as John mentioned. So what we're seeing then is Hillary Clinton, who has been the front runner for some time, sort of saying, well, you know, our differences are not that great. We have a lot more in common than we have with Republicans. So she is the front runner, Larry, trying to kind of stay above the fray. Barack Obama and John Edwards getting into it just a little bit. So it's been interesting to see how they went at this debate as it relates to their poll numbers, Larry. Anderson,
thank you, Candy. Anderson, I don't know, Anderson, okay, we're both here, Candy. Anderson, I don't know if you agree, but this, which I thought would be guilty of a lot of sound